Hey everybody, I'm back again, and this lecture is going to explain to you how to do your speech of introduction, okay? And normally, sorry, I'm adjusting this here. Normally in a face-to-face class, what we do is you actually do it in partners and then you introduce each other, but that's not what we're going to do. Instead, what you're going to do is you're going to actually write the speech of introduction for yourself, but you're going to write it as if you're introducing a third person. So you want to write it in third person rather than in first person, but realize you're really writing it about you. And if this sounds confusing, hold on, because I'm going to go through the assignment and then I'm going to give you, I have an example. That's the sample speech that's in your speech assignment number 1. This is it is in Blackboard under assignments, and you'll see speech of introduction. There's a document and you go ahead and download that and open it, and here are the instructions. And then realize that there's 2 parts of this assignment, okay, and it's 2 different grades, and each grade is worth 100 points, so out of 100 points. So the first part is going to be the actual speech that you type out. This is a brief speech. Speeches of introduction are brief, but they're also detailed, okay? And so that's going to be the first part. You'll actually type out the entire speech. It'll be roughly, I don't know, 3/4 of a page, single spaced. And you'll submit that through Blackboard. You'll submit the document through Blackboard. Then I created another tab that says speech of introduction video, okay, or the recording. That's where you're going to record yourself giving your speech of introduction, and then you'll save it to your whatever device you're using. You'll create that YouTube account. You'll upload your speech to that YouTube account. You make it unlisted, okay, unlisted, and then you can embed it either in Blackboard or you can just send me the link under that tab. Okay, so where it says speech of introduction video, that's where you will actually either send me the link to your speech or you can embed it. Remember, my colleague, I already posted under lectures, my colleague who has done a demonstration video for the speech discipline on how to do this, on how to record your speech, create the YouTube account, and then upload it to YouTube, and in this case, embed it in Blackboard. He says Canvas also, but we don't use Canvas. We use Blackboard. So that's kind of the overview. Why am I making you do this? To torture you, of course. No, this is actually a very good professional skill to have. Speeches of introduction are pretty conventional. What I mean by conventional is audiences expect to hear certain things. So what is a speech of introduction? A speech of introduction is where the designated host or hostess of whatever event gives a brief speech of introduction introducing the main speaker, okay? So the purpose is to warm up the audience and give the audience a reason to listen to the main speaker. We're kind of warming them up. It's kind of like the drum roll. Woo! Get ready for this great speaker, tonight. And you may have heard these if you've ever gone to anyone's graduation. Typically at a graduation ceremony, college is what I'm referring to here, the college or the university will typically hire or pay someone of stature in the community to come in and be the keynote speaker. That's what it's referred to as, kind of a funny word. It's the keynote. It's the high note of the evening. The keynote speaker to come and address the graduating class and give them advice and all this stuff, right? But before that, typically the president of the university or the designated person gives a brief speech of introduction introducing that main speaker to the audience. So remember, you're not writing the main speech. You're writing the speech of introduction as if, right? As if you are going to be the main speaker. So you're writing it as if someone's going to present a longer speech. And again, I think this is going to become clearer once we go ahead and go through the assignment, and then I give you the example. So, by the way, if you're at a high dollar university, such as Princeton, for example, your keynote speaker for your graduation might be someone like Michelle Obama. Okay, typically that's what happens. These high dollar universities can really hire people of stature to pay them to give them that speech. But this also comes in handy in regular life circumstances. You may be, and I'll give you an example here, because again, why should you do this assignment? What's the purpose? Because it's really twofold. It's for me to get to know who you are. Normally, when we're in a face-to-face class, we start audience analysis. We start learning who's in the classroom, because then you want to target, say, your final sales presentation. You kind of learn who's in there and what their interests are, so that you can target your final sales speech to that particular audience. But you don't have to really worry about that here, since we're doing this class online. But anyway, it does serve my purpose, which is to get to know you. But the other purpose for you as a student, this is a great skill to have, is to know how to do it. It makes you look professional and comes up in real life. So besides graduations, here's my real life example. And I want to ask you all. So how many of you out there who work, is there anyone out there in this class right now who is a manager? Like you maybe manage some people under you. Maybe you have 2 or 3 employees, or maybe you're coming back to, you've had a career, or you've worked, and you're coming back to EPCC to get a different type of degree. So maybe you managed a lot of employees. I don't know. But as the case may be, I want to throw that out to you. So if you're a manager, or this may come in handy, or you never know when this skill is going to come up. I was on the committee to host our 30-year high school reunion, and I won't even tell you how long ago that was. But anyway, we got together as a committee, me and some of my former classmates. I am a Tiger, woohoo, La High, El Paso High forever, right? Anyway, so I was on the committee with some of my classmates to put together our high school reunion. And so, of course, we had a banquet and this and that, and we ended up sending out a survey to our classmates and said, who was your favorite teacher and why? And so overwhelmingly, it came back to be Mrs. Holly Berry. Now, she's retired now, but Holly Berry was this amazing biology, physiology teacher. And so it came back. And as it is, I don't know if anyone goes to UTEP, but if you take an English class over at UTEP, I think she's still teaching. Holly Berry's sister is Dr. Mimi Gladstein. And Dr. Mimi Gladstein it has really served UTEP well. She's been high up in the administration, and she's also was a wonderful English instructor. And it may interest you to know their father, okay, so Mrs. Holly Berry and Mimi Gladstein's father actually founded the Holocaust Museum here in El Paso. So just FYI, kind of some interesting background. Anyway, what does this have to do with the speech of introduction? Well, I called up she kind of won our little survey, so I called her up and invited her to come to our reunion banquet, right? Well, and I did. I kind of interviewed her over the phone and asked her what she'd been doing, since she'd retired, la-di-da-di-da-di-da. Then they all pick on the speech teacher, the lawyer, the doctor, and the business person, say, well, you're the speech teacher, so you get to be the master of the MC. In this case, not the master, but the mistress of ceremonies. So what I did then at the banquet, we had the little festivities and this and that. Well, it came time for Mrs. Berry to address our class and give her own speech, what she remembers about the class. Anyway, and so what did I do? Before she got up there to give her little speech, I gave a little speech of introduction for Mrs. Berry. kind of reintroducing her to our class, saying what she'd been doing, etc. So even at banquets, you never know when this skill is going to come up. Now, in a business situation, going back to the question I asked you, is anybody out there a manager? So let me give you a little scene for you, right? So say that you are a manager and you have a team of employees, and the corporate office of whatever business you're in, whatever organization you work for, has flown someone in from the New York office to talk to your team about the new safety protocols that are being implemented for your company, right? So safety and security. Well, okay, you're the manager. So here's your person who's and high up person, right? Your person who's flown in from New York, and here you're the manager. Oh, and when are these meetings always called to introduce the team to the new safety protocols? When are these meetings called? Mandatory meetings. Friday afternoon at like 4 o'clock or Monday morning at 7 a.m. How happy is everyone to be there on Friday afternoon or Monday morning? But nonetheless, that's life, that's business, that's the way it goes. So here you are, the manager. So you could say, hi, everyone. Glad you could make it to this meeting this afternoon. I know everyone would rather be at happy hour, but you may have been wondering about the new safety protocols. And guess what? We're lucky because we have someone here who's going to actually tell you all about the new safety protocols that the company is implementing. And so could you please help me welcome, what was your name again? Oh, yeah, Vice President Juan Martinez from our corporate office. Yeah, give him a hand. Yeah. Okay, you could do that, but you do not look very professional, right? At all. And hello, this is a VP, or this is someone, from the corporate office. So you want to know you want to look professional here in front of your team. So instead, welcome everyone to our Friday afternoon meeting. I know that it's Friday afternoon, but this is a very important meeting. And I know I've been hearing the buzz around the office. I know many of you have many questions about what the new safety protocols are that are going to be implemented very soon here at our company. Well, you are in for a treat because we have an expert here in safety and security who has flown all the way here from our New York office to tell you just that. And he is very well equipped to explain to us exactly what these new safety protocols are going to accomplish and how they're going to be implemented, because he has a background actually in security. He's worked in the field for over 30 years and yada, 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 yada. Here you give the speaker's background, right? His expertise, why we should listen to him or her, okay? So you go through their expertise, etc., their qualifications. So please, everyone, I know we're excited and grateful to have him here with us. Please help me give a warm welcome of applause to our Vice President, all the way here from New York City, VP Juan Martinez. Okay, so you see what I mean? That's what I mean. And you never know when you're going to be called upon. I don't want you to see the rest of my messy house. You never know when you're going to be called upon to give a speech of introduction. So whenever there's a speaker, you might be at a banquet, you might be at the head of your club, you want to be able to know how to do a professional speech of introduction. So that's why I'm making you do this. And yes, there is an element of torture. I do admit it. Okay, but mostly I want to learn about you. So here we go. And I'm going to go over the assignment with you. So if you do want to pause this video and access that assignment and download it, or whatever you want to do, look at it on your phone, but follow it along as I go through this, and I believe, or these instructions rather, and I believe that that's going to help you. So here we go. I already told you about the main speech purpose, but here it is again. You're going to inform us about yourself, and you're also going to learn the structure of a speech of introduction. The audience purpose is for me to learn about you, okay? Normally it would be for you to learn about the class, but that we don't have to worry about that. So the assignment. If you scroll all the way down, and I'm double screening here, if you scroll all the way down this document, you're going to reach a part that says Information Self-Survey. Okay, so I already said in one of the announcements to go ahead and start filling that out, or at least start thinking about it. And here I'm going to clarify some things for you. Then you're going to take this information, right, from the self-survey, and you're going to use that information about yourself to create a speech of introduction. So you do not have to turn in the self-survey. Think of this as like the prep questions for putting together your speech. You're going to turn in that speech, right? The typed copy of your speech, that document. And in that speech, you will have answered all these questions. And again, you'll see when we hit the sample speech. But let's go over that information self-survey, since this is what you have to, some of the things you have to include in the speech of introduction. So some things I have accomplished. What have you accomplished that you're proud of? And it can be anything. Maybe you were a star in high school and you won a bunch of awards, or you were in a lot of clubs, or you were great at district sports. Whatever it is that you've accomplished that you're proud of, you can talk about. You can say, this is what I've accomplished. Or maybe you're like, oh man, I was lucky to just get out of high school, or wow, high school was a long time ago. Then put something else. What have you accomplished? That maybe it's being the first generation in your family to attend college. Okay, that's big. Maybe you changed the tire on your car for the first time. I mean, whatever it is. So some things that you have accomplished that you feel proud of, right? Then some short-term goals. What do you want to have accomplished 1 year from now? Okay, so where do you see yourself 1 year from now? What are some things you want to have accomplished? Then some long-term goals. What do you want to accomplish 5 years from now? So we're talking short-range goals a year from now, and then long-term goals around 5 years from now. By the way, that question, where do you see yourself 5 years from now, is a standard job interview question. And so they're looking for, are you committed to the organization? Do you want to move up? What are your goals? What are your career goals? So that is a good place to put where you want to be when you grow up. Okay. If you know what's your degree plan, what do you want to go into? If you know what you want to get your degree in, or not. Maybe you can say, you know what, I haven't decided. I'm interested in this, this, and this, or I'm still exploring. But we do want some definite long-term goals. Then, something of note about my personal life. Well, actually not my personal life, your personal life. So it could be anything. Your family, maybe you have a family that you want to brag about. Maybe you're in a band and you want to tell us about the band. Hobbies, interests, anything like that. Now, we don't want it to be too personal, class, right? It's no one's business whether or not you're still a virgin or anything like that. No, TMI, too much information. But something that's original, that makes you unique. Maybe you want to talk about your pets. Maybe you have an iguana named Fred. I don't know. I have a cat named Marlowe. But anyway, named after Christopher Marlowe, of course, the playwright who was a contemporary of Shakespeare. And just in case you wanted to know that. But so something about your personal life, hobbies, interests, family, things like that. Instruments. Maybe you play musical instruments. That's a nice thing to know also. So whatever you want to share about your personal life, that's not too personal. Then books, movies, and music that are special to you and why. And they don't have to be recent. It could be one that you saw that's special to you from your childhood. So whatever, but include all of them. Books, movies, music that are special to you and why. Make sure you say why. Make sure you explain that. If you're not a big reader, you can say that. I'm not a big reader, but here are the movies. Oh, and TV shows count. So movies, TV shows, Netflix, because with COVID, we haven't really been able to go to the movie theater, but boy, have we been watching them on the small screen. So TV shows, Netflix, anything like that is fine too. And then here comes the kicker. A metaphor, simile, or analogy for yourself and why it describes you. Now, do your English teachers love you? What is a metaphor? What is a simile? What is an analogy? There's very slight differences. I really don't care which one you use. All three have to do with a comparison. And usually you're comparing two different things that you wouldn't normally compare, but that they do have similarities. So a metaphor, did you get it right? Do your English teachers love you? A metaphor is a comparison that does not use like or as. A simile is a comparison that does use like or as, and an analogy is usually an extended metaphor or simile. So you expand the analogy or you thread it through. And these are called figures of speech, and these are great to use in presentations and speeches because they create pictures in the audience's mind. And a picture is easier to remember and retain than just a bunch of words strung together. So, examples. And so if you're going, what do I compare myself to? You're on crack, miss. No. So, there's lots of different ways you can approach this question. Cartoon characters are always good. I'm like the Tasmanian devil because I'm always in a whirlwind and I have a really bad temper. Yeah. Vehicles were cars, makes of cars. Vehicles can work well for this. I'm like a beat up Chevy pickup truck. I may not look like much, but I can get from point A to point B. Yeah? It can be anything. One student one year said, I'm like so those were all similes, metaphor. I am your first cup of coffee in the morning because I perk people up and have a lot of energy. See what we're going for here? Even appliances. And I apologize for this one ahead of time. I'm like a microwave oven. I heat things up fast. Or beverages. I'm a glass of pink bubbling champagne because I have an effervescent personality and I'm the life of the party. So see what we're after, class? That's what we're after, is that fun little metaphor, simile, analogy that you could possibly string all the way through your speech. Again, stay tuned, stay with me, wake up, because there will be an example coming soon. So that's the self-survey. So you fill that out. And now what are you going to do? You're going to take that information and you're going to turn it into your speech of introduction. So if you scroll back up to the assignment, it says, complete the information self-survey below. We just went through it. Using the information on the handout as a guide, you will write a speech of introduction for yourself. However, as we said, to do so, you will refer to yourself in third person. So instead of I, you will refer to yourself as he or she. Again, the example is coming soon. Then you're going to organize your speech of introduction according to the guidelines below in content. Because again, these speeches are very conventional. So what do they typically contain? And think of them in three parts. Just like you have an introduction, body, conclusion, this one does too, only the introductory remarks and the concluding remarks are a lot shorter than, say, in a regular speech or English paper. So you first welcome the audience and you state the occasion. Why are people gathered together? So going back to my little business example, welcome everyone to our Friday afternoon meeting. Okay, and that's why we're here, this mandatory meeting. Then after you kind of welcome the audience, establish some rapport, then you preview the speaker's topic. Not your topic, but what the main speaker is going to talk about. So today we have our VP who's here to tell us about what? The new safety protocols. Okay, so there you have it. So that's the preview of the topic. What's the speaker here to talk about? So, and that's kind of your introductory material. Now, why should we listen to this person? Why have you hired this guy or this gal? Why have you flown, why have you flown him in from New York? Or why are we listening to her speak, right? So now you've got to warm up the audience. You have to give the audience some background about the speaker. So now, to encourage the audience to listen to the speaker, you will provide background about the speaker's qualifications, expertise, and so on. In this case, you're going to include all of the information about yourself from that handout. Okay, any information about yourself you wish to share. But on top of that, you want to make sure that you include all the categories on that information self-survey handout. That's what you're using to flesh out your speech of introduction for you all. Then, and this is number 5, you may also include information about yourself that is not on the handout, such as your values, beliefs, dreams, where you're from. Are you single? Are you married? Are you divorced? Are you available? Okay. It's sad that we are not face-to-face. This is a true story. You never know what might happen in speech class. So true story. I have to interrupt myself here for a minute and tell you this. This is interpersonal communication, right? So again, like I said, normally for this assignment, you get into partners and you meet each other and you introduce your partner. Okay. So I don't know. It was probably a year or two later, and I'm at Valle Verde, and I'm walking to my car, in the parking lot, and I hear this, "Miss, Miss!" So these 2 students run up to me, and they had been in my speech class, and of course they'd done the speech of introduction together, and guess what they did? They handed me an invitation to their wedding because they had met in my speech class. You never know. You never know what can happen. But anyway, that's a live class. Who knows? You might have the opportunity to meet each other or see each other. I don't know, maybe in one of the Zoom meetings. But in any case, I thought I'd share that story. So you can include any information that you would like. And then number 6, make sure also that you include the metaphor/simile/analogy for yourself, and make sure you explain why it applies to you. You can't just throw it out there. We need to understand why that applies to you. And then finally, so that whole part is the body. So you have the introductory remarks, then the body, which is all the background, the expertise, the qualifications. Then the concluding remarks is the 3rd little paragraph, so you can indent. It's not really a paragraph, though. It's short. So at the very end, then you conclude the speech by asking the audience to welcome the speaker. Okay. In this case, it's you, but use your first and last name. Also in speeches of introduction, when you're introducing speakers, you want to include any titles. Doctor, vice president, professor, any president, CEO, whatever their title is, you do want to include that in this part. So you ask the audience to welcome, give them a warm hand of applause, and you go ahead and you welcome the speaker to the podium, to the microphone. You turn it over to them. So that's how you do it. Make sure you use your first and last name. Have some fun and be creative. Now here comes the fun part. You're sitting there going, "Oh, Ms. McNeil, no." Come on, you're excited. So you can be a little creative with this. You can set this speech in the future as if you've already accomplished all your goals. You know what I mean? And you're going to see here in the sample in a minute. So you could set it in the future, and you're going to see in just a minute. Now, if you're sitting there going, I'm not creative, I'm going to barely get through this assignment, which is not the right attitude, by the way. But if you're going, no, then set it in real time. And you can just say, welcome everyone to our Speech 1321 class. We're looking forward to a good summer one session, la-di-da-di-da. So you can set it in real time if you prefer. But don't be afraid to be a little creative. So scroll on. There is more. Are you still awake? You better be. So written requirements. So remember, we talked about this. There's the typed speech that you submit, the document, and then there's the video. And you're going to video yourself, kind of like I'm doing here. So, but and when I say written class, right, I mean typed. Yes, everything's word processed in college. It's all typed, and it's a typed document. Microsoft Word. I may have forgotten to put that in the syllabus. You need to make these documents Microsoft Word, because a lot of times if you send them in another form, Blackboard won't open them. I'm glad I remembered to tell you that. Microsoft Word document. But here's what you do. So you must turn in the entire speech for this assignment. Please follow the format of the sample speech that follows. Again, humor me, even though it's coming through Blackboard and it's got your name. Just humor me. And in the upper left-hand corner of your document, please include your first and last name, the date that it's due, and Speech 1321. And then, of course, submit it through Blackboard as a Microsoft Word document, please. Otherwise, it may not open. So that's that. How do you deliver this sucker? Okay, so what's your delivery method? And this is not, as I said, this is not a public speaking class, but you're going to be called upon in whatever your job is at some time or another to give a presentation. And also this has to do with your interview skills also. So you don't want to go in there, whatever you're doing, interview, presentation, talking to your team, you don't want to go in there, hey, what's up? Yeah, we've got to do this today. And yeah, blah, 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 blah. No, you have to have some good delivery. So number one, you can use what's called manuscript method or extemporaneous method. Manuscript method is kind of what I'm doing here. Well, actually, it's not, because I'm not just reading the paper to you. But that would be when you would have your whole speech in front of you, and you would be reading off the paper. So you have the whole manuscript. I'll just use this. So you have the whole manuscript here, and you would be reading off your paper, your speech of introduction. That's manuscript. But there's also something called extemporaneous method, and that's why I put on your syllabus index cards, or some people use their phone, which is, some speech teachers hate that. I don't see that it's really a problem, but anyway, but if you have little note cards, index cards, just pretend, then you would just have an outline of your speech of introduction, and you would talk to us. And that's pretty much what I'm doing right now. I'm looking at the assignment instructions, that's my outline, but I'm not sitting here and reading it to you. I'm looking at it, it jogs my memory, I know what I want to tell you, I've learned it, and so that jogs my memory so that here I am talking to you. So extemporaneous method is basically delivering a speech from an outline. And it's really nice because you're not reading it. It's not so much memorized class as it is learned. I mean, technically it is memorized, but it's not you going blah, 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 blah. It's not you reciting it from memory. It's more you glance and you tell us. So for this, you get a choice, either one. But no matter which one you choose, what you want to avoid is you don't want to sit there going, welcome everyone to Speech 1321. Yeah, it's going to be a great summer session, and yeah, and let me keep going, blah, 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 blah. And you deliver the whole darn speech, and all we see is reading down like this, and all we see is the top of your head. You also want to be careful doing what I'm doing right now, which is I'm looking at the screen over here. Yes? So be careful. Messy room in there. Okay. So be careful. You don't want to sit there like this and read off the screen, and then all I'm getting is your profile, or I never see your eyes. And again, kind of what I'm doing here with you all is how I want you to do the speech of introduction. You don't have to necessarily dress up, although if you know you should look nice. And then if you stand up, you can stand up. That's groovy. You may have to. I've got my laptop right now elevated so that because you don't want to be, like I said, looking down. And I swear to God, the camera, I don't want to see your nose hairs. You know what I'm saying? And also, I really would like to see enough of your torso, okay, this part, so that you could try some gestures, right? Try some gestures, and when you don't gesture, your hands come down at your side. Okay, so I want to be able to see enough of you. But if you don't want to, and I like standing up because it grounds you. It grounds you, and it gives you more kind of energy and presence. Now, if you don't want to for this first one, because you're maybe kind of nerve-wracking, and I do a bunch of my speeches sitting down, this is fine too, although I think I would lower the computer because you don't see enough of my torso. I want to be able to see your gestures. Anyway, so you get to pick that, but again, don't just read blah, 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 blah into your paper. Practice it. What you want to aim for is expressive, natural delivery. Expressive, natural delivery. Kind of like this. So practice the darn thing. Plus, you all, if you record this thing and you make mistakes, hello, stop it and re-record. You're the lucky ducks because this is an online class. So if you make it, you're not live. So if you make a total, and I do this all the time. I start off my video and then I'm 5 minutes into it. I'm like, oh, I hate this. Delete, start over. So, kind of look at your speech and if you don't like it, record it, watch it, redo it if you hate it. Now, this is a short speech. This is only about 1 to 2 minutes long. It's a brief speech of introduction. So again, aim for expressive, natural delivery. And then number 3 under delivery, practice the speech until you feel well prepared. And that's going to be different for everyone. Some people might practice it 3 times, boom, they have it down. Other people, you're practicing it 15 times, So practice it until you feel like you're doing well, that it's rolling off your tongue. If English is not your first language, if English is your second language, slow the rate down. Okay, don't rush that delivery. That's my advice for that. And remember, if you fail to prepare, you are preparing to fail. I stole that from some other teacher, but anyway, the speech again is brief but detailed, 1 to 2 minutes. Then you're going to record yourself giving your speech of introduction, kind of like I'm recording myself here for you all. And again, you're going to follow my colleagues' instructions for saving the speech, creating your YouTube account, and either sending me the link or embedding that video into Blackboard. Voila. So, moving on down the road, keep scrolling. So the next part of this, you see the information self-survey. We already went over that. But a sample speech is worth a million instructions. So here we go. So here's a sample. And I don't have this on note cards, so this is going to be a little bit awkward. Class, do not do this. You would either have it on your phone or note cards, preferably. And I'm sorry, I have a bad habit on these videos. I hate watching myself. It's very distracting, and then I'm fiddling with my hair. It's horrible. So if you see me fiddling with my hair, I apologize. That is called, when we hit the nonverbal chapter, that is called an adjuster. Okay. So you want to try, or adapters rather. You want to try to avoid those. So do as I say, not as I do all the time. But here we are. Sample speech of introduction. So if I'm a student So I'm a student in my class, right? I'm a student in Speech 1321, and I want to be a doctor. Well, here is how I might write my speech of introduction, again, using that self-survey that I've already filled out. So here we go. And in this case, I've set it in the future. Okay. Welcome to the annual gala of the American Medical Association. Oh my gosh, it's so great to see so many talented doctors, nurses, and medical staff here tonight. And wow, look at this turnout too. This is fantastic. Well, tonight, we are honored to have with us Time Magazine's Person of the Year. Yes, the doctor you have all been waiting for. The very doctor who discovered the cure for COVID-19. We don't have to worry about vaccinations ongoing. It is an actual cure. Who knew? This amazing physician is here tonight to tell us just how she and her team accomplished this feat, the incredible journey from vaccine to cure. But before she does, first let me tell you a little bit about her professional and personal journey. Her interest in medicine began when she was only a little girl. From a young age, she read everything she could find about viruses and disease. In high school, she won awards for her advanced work in biology and physiology and volunteered at the hospital. She also graduated from El Paso High School and Johns Hopkins Medical School at the top of her class. Some of her other accomplishments include yada, yada, yada. Here you would include those accomplishments you're proud of, right? One of her short-term goals is to, and here you would explain why. Some of her long-term goals are, and you would explain why. Many people do not know that our doctor is also a writer. Her books feature a medical doctor who solves forensic mysteries. Here you would include other personal life notes. The books, movies, and music that inspire her are, and you would explain why. This physician compares her medical career and COVID cure discovery to the challenges of space exploration. Despite ongoing setbacks, starships that explode, research battles, and attacks by alien pathogens, she and her crew persevered, and they are now moving ahead toward a cancer cure at warp speed. So with her success and determination, our special guest has truly pushed the boundaries of our medical universe and is moving our field light years ahead. Please welcome Dr. Lisa McNeil to our gala. All right, so there you have it. Yes? So that is how you would do it. So notice, let's go back a little bit and break this down. So notice the welcome statement. Welcome. And what is the occasion? It's the annual gala of the American Medical Association. I used to say gala, but supposedly it's gala. Anyway, I say potato, you say potato. Anyway, then you kind of a bit of rapport. It's so great to see everyone. Fabulous turnout. Ba-ba. Now, you tell us what we're in for. You preview the speaker's topic. Tonight, we've got the doctor who discovered the cure for COVID. And that physician is here tonight to tell us how she and her team accomplished this feat. Okay, so that's the preview of the topic. That's the introductory remarks. Now, the main body, is now you go into the background, the qualifications. So we have the accomplishments. We have the high school and colleges that she graduated from. I really obviously didn't go to Johns Hopkins, but anyway, I did go to El Paso High, as I told you. But so here, and of course, you could put this in the past when you go to her short-term goals were to, and she's accomplished them. So notice this is including all of those categories off the self-survey: the short-term goals, the long-term goals, the personal life notes, the fact that she's a writer also, the books and the movies. And then here's the analogy, explaining the journey to discover this cure to space exploration. And here we've kind of threaded this analogy, this metaphor, simile analogy through to the end of the speech. And then, of course, the concluding remarks, with her success and perseverance, here's our special guest. And you introduce them and call them up at the end. So I hope that helps. Remember, both parts of this assignment are due Tuesday. And please get your books, because then we're going to start moving along next week with chapter 1 and more video lectures. So I hope you enjoy this assignment. And I look forward to learning about you, because it's going to be fun for me. Warning, danger, Will Robinson. You have no idea what that means. Lost in space, my friends. I like sci-fi. What can I tell you? Okay, Lost in Space. So there was this robot. And whenever there was danger, and Will Robinson was the kid, the teenage boy in the TV series, Lost in Space. And so the robot would freak out. Warning, danger, Will Robinson. So anyway, so warning, like right now, I'm going to upload this video to YouTube. It is 45 minutes. So, I was trying to get this into 30. Oh, well, that's what you get for being a speech teacher. We talk. So it's going to take about 30, 40 minutes for this thing to upload to YouTube. So I did want to warn you. Now, you're doing a short speech, 1 to 2 minutes. So I don't know, anywhere from 5 to 10, because then after it uploads, you get all excited. And then it has to process. And so it says it's processing. So that takes a few minutes. Remember to mark, no, it's not for kids. And then also make sure you mark it as unlisted. Do not put it as private. I won't be able to see it. Okay. So, and I don't think you want to make it public, unless maybe you'll become a YouTube sensation. Who knows? But seriously, put it as unlisted, and then don't forget to copy the link. And either send me the link or embed your speech into Blackboard. It is more convenient when it's embedded in Blackboard, but if you're stressed, send me the link. I hope that helps, and I will see you next time. And have some fun. I look forward to your speeches of introduction. Very good professional business skill to have. Bye.